Now this is something you don't really expect to see in my yard. If you guys don't know what this is an 80s Porsche. Now, I would really like to derby this thing. And the reason why I'd like to derby this thing is I've never, ever seen one of these derbied. Now the problem is there's no motor inside this Porsche. But if you look, there's no transmission inside this Porsche. The motor transmission setup that's inside this car is a motor up front with a bell housing and a torque tube, which is that, all the way to the back where the transmission is located. It's to get the perfect 50-50 weight distribution on these cars. But engine's removed, transmission's removed, torque tube is still intact, but that doesn't do jack shit for us. But one interesting thing about these cars is the frame rails and all the body steel on this car is actually galvanized steel, so it does not rust. I really wish other automakers would do stuff like this. I know it's not cheap to do it, and I know it's not really environmentally friendly, but realistically, this car's got zero rust. Zero. And it does not look like it's had a good life. It's a 944 Porsche. We're going to go through and see if we can take any of these parts and save anything. I'm not really sure what we can save, what we can reuse kind of thing, but it'll be worth it to go through and take a look. Front bumpers are aluminum, so I don't know if I'll be reusing those. They're pretty thick aluminum, but still aluminum. The front bumper is actually the winch / tow point for these cars, so you know what, they must be very strong, and the mounts must be pretty strong as well. The front frame rails on this car actually look very strong, and as you can see, there's actually supports that go up to the strut towers to help support the struts off of the frame rails. So I imagine this car would be pretty strong in a demolition derby, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to do it. Here's underneath the back of the car. As you can see, that torque tube ends right back here so that you have a huge opening back here for the transmission. So if you were able to run one of these cars in a stock show, I don't think it'd be that good because the motor's up front, so you really can't use the front that much, and the transmission's out back, so you can't really use the back very much because you're risking damage to the transmission. But the suspension setup on these cars, as you can see from, hold on, let me just... The suspension setup is more similar to a VW Bug from the 70s than anything else I've actually really seen. It's got the two trailing arms plus the strut and then the axles to help keep it all aligned and straight. But I'm not really sure how this car would do in a demolition derby. I'd like to see one of these done. If I could get one of these cars that run and drive, I would do it, but it's not worth it for me to put a whole new rear axle, motor, transmission, drive shafts inside this car. Couple things that we can save off this car. For example, this radiator, this is a thicker aluminum radiator that is a very tiny rad. It's got nice condensed electric fans, and honestly, I'm pretty sure this thing will hold water. But we can reuse this. Because of the high performance design, I imagine this has got to have high performance cooling on it, and it's a very small rad that we're going to be able to fit into our Mazdas, our Hondas, or even our Toyotas. So we'll be keeping the rad, so that's one thing we're definitely going to keep. It's actually got quite a bit of good weight to it too. Some of the other things we'll be keeping off this car is all the catalytic converters. This gentleman here got 1 cat, 2 cat, 3 cat, 4 cat. Yes, I'm doing Sesame Street count by numbers, but that's fine, I don't care. What I'm saying is it's got a lot of catalytic converters in it, and that's something that has to be cut out of this car. The previous owner was also nice enough to separate out a lot of the aluminum inside this car. Now he didn't clean it, but he separated, which was nice. So we have a lot of cast aluminum. We're gonna take a lot of the stuff out inside the car, see if we find any starters, alternators, air conditioning. He did tell me that it's got the old R36 or R38 or whatever it is inside of it, the really bad air conditioning juice, so we're gonna cut that on a good day when it's windy kind of thing. But there's lots of goodies inside this car that we're going to have to take out and try to reuse. The back window So I might spend a little bit of effort and a little bit of time trying to get this back window out. I really do like these fender flares. And if the other one was not as mangled as it was, I'd probably cut it off and I'd put it in my shed. Why? Because I'm a hoarder. And these look awesome. These flares look awesome. And one thing I really like about this Porsche, when you open the gas door, it's got a little flap that folds down so you don't spill gas on the side of your car. That's ingenuity. But we got a Porsche, and I really wish we could take this to a demolition derby, but we can't. So the next best thing is just to scrap it, try to make some money off of it, and keep your eyes open for something better, newer, running, driving. So thanks for watching Zach's Workshop. Take care. See you guys tomorrow. Make sure you guys hit that like button and the subscribe button down below. And thanks to you guys, my channel's growing, and I greatly appreciate